Right. No, I completely agree. I totally get it. Dylan, what do you think?
I don't know. I have.
This is just me looping in Dylan because he's just sitting there, and I need more. No, you are literally the embodiment of Geek Squad. I love it.
Geek Squad. I got called that by one of my friends the other day because I'm majoring in engineering, which isn't geek. Geek Squad is like IT, computer software.
That's not geek. That's cool.
What? What is cool?
Engineering.
That's what I said. Yeah, I was like, you're making fun of me, which isn't cool.
How do you know that?
Because I said that exact word.
Get Dylan a Geek Squad backpack, or I will.
Oh,
no, don't get me.
That is a good Christmas gift.
Really good
it's just mean. These are just boring.
I love Geek Squad. Geek Squad is like such like a funny thing now, where I feel like before everyone was like, oh, Geek Squad is boring and like weird, but now Geek Squad people are slaying the day and saving lives every single day.
Saving lives.
Duh.
When your computer
I've never gone to Best Buy and been like, hey yo, I'm literally so dumb bad it's not working.
I went to Best Buy this morning.
Did you?
Yes.
Yeah. What did you get?
I lost my camera battery.
So you went to Best Buy.
Okay, Jonah went to Best Buy.
I know.
My errand boy went to Best Buy this morning.
No, my dream is to have an assistant. I always talk about
Just
this.
marry an older man. Just marry a man. See, there you go.
Right.
Just marry a golden retriever guy.
Oh, I know.
They don't make you feel guilty. He literally found the same battery pack in my car as soon as he got home. I didn't hear shit about it. He was like, "It's okay." I was like, "I'm so sorry. It's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever." Yeah.
No, fully.
That's too nice.
Yep.
Well, should we do an intro?
Let's do an intro.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. Well,
let's do it.
Today we have our first guest, Yovanni. We're very excited. Yovanni is a student at the U. You're a senior this year. What are you majoring in? I forget.
Okay, so I'm majoring in strategic communication, and then I'm also studying business and marketing as my minors.
Very cool. Business is like at the U is so cool to me. I wanted to do business so bad, mostly because of like the building and the like the resources. Yes,
they get it all.
Insane.
They do.
Oh my god, I used to go to the little cafe up there, and I dropped out of college, but I was just like, I'm gonna type on my laptop in this little cafe. I'm so business oriented.
It's all about the aesthetics. That's the only thing that's gotten me through college.
Yeah, no, literally, I love that. Okay, well that's very fun. Dylan is a major in engineering.
What kind? Do you know?
Not environmental.
Mechanical.
Yeah.
I thought he was an environmental engineer.
Really?
The entire time I've known him.
That is insane. I would never.
I work in that's what I said. No, my job is sustainability and energy right now, and that's why she thought that, because she can only hear the last thing I said.
Yeah.
I just thought you were a good guy.
No, I am a good guy.
Okay.
Well,
all right.
That's my job. You guys aren't listening.
It was Avery's birthday this weekend. How was that?
Not this weekend, but
this week. I'm sorry.
On Tuesday.
Like literally 2 days ago.
Yeah.
2 days ago.
Yeah, it was.
What did you get her for her birthday?
What did I get her? I got her a bookmark from that book you guys like, A Kotar, and then I got her a magic blender cup. That's all. It was
so Avery coded.
It is. It actually is very much is. Books and like smoothies.
Yeah, and then I got her like a card game that she wanted.
Cute.
So yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. Good gift giver.
Yeah.
What would you do for her birthday? Did you cook her breakfast in bed? Did you?
No, she went to work, but I didn't even wake up. She was gone. And then I was like, and then she came back and we went to dinner. And then last night I took her out to sushi again. Aww. So yeah.
Good.
Again. Wait, what sushi restaurant?
I forgot what it's called, but it's like right by our house.
Was it Sapa?
No.
Oh.
Right by your house.
Yeah. It's I don't remember what it's called.
He's lying.
You think I'm lying? That would be crazy.
No, we're kidding. But that's very sweet. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
Avery and Tressa, another friend, is obviously having a little birthday party this weekend.
Oh yeah, I know.
Exciting. Yes, that's gonna be so fun.
Love it.
I'm
Dressed
excited.
to the nines is a theme, so we're all gonna be showing our best little outfits that we have.
Dylan bought a shirt.
I did.
Avery bought Dylan.
That was actually something I wanted to talk about. So this is what episode is this? Number 7?
It's number 7.
Number 7.
I was struggling.
Yes.
7 is one of my lucky numbers.
7 is a good number.
This morning I was struggling to find an outfit that I have. I was like, I'm like, it can't be. If we can't look at, you shouldn't be able to look at the thumbnail of one video and the first one, and it shouldn't like.
Repeat outfits.
Yeah, but it's gonna come soon.
Yeah.
I've like,
time.
I'm just waiting. I
You're
got
going
this
through
shirt
your shirts.
it's from the triathlon I ran. That's all.
Oh my
Dylan
gosh.
runs triathlon.
I'm
You know what? I only want to run like a marathon, triathlon, 5K, any of the above, just to say that I did.
Me too.
It.
I'm like, how
It's
spiteful
awesome.
am I?
Yeah.
Like, how motivated am I in my
be
spite?
annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wouldn't be
Yes.
fast. I would
No,
be the
me
last
neither.
person to finish.
I think I could do a 5K or a marathon. Triathlon is where I'm like,
A 5K or a
Draw the
marathon.
line.
There's middles though.
what's the middle?
Half marathon.
Okay.
But
A
it's
half
like, why
marathon.
not do the full thing?
Yeah.
Half marathon.
I mean, I did that one time. And it was, a lot of people were saying that actually. People were like, you don't want to just finish? I was like, no. If I had to
thank
do what I did and then do it again,
Yeah.
I think I would have died.
That's fair.
It was too long.
I also never run, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I could. That's my toxic trait. I think I could do anything. I
Oh,
truly do.
That's a
retweet.
good trade.
I think I could
Like,
do
if
anything.
I really put my mind to it, girl, I'm there.
If I don't do something, I'm not motivated enough. I didn't really want to do it. I think I could become a pilot or an astronaut if I really wanted to. I think I have it
career
in me.
path. No, I literally saw this TikTok. Sorry to reference. I'm a 21-year-old Gen Z. Don't blame me.
At least we're not pretending to read articles.
I know,
I'm-
exactly. I'm like, I read this article one day. No, I didn't. It was this TikTok that was like, I want to be, like, when people ask me what I want to do for a living, it's like, I want to be a poet. I want to be a fashion designer. It's like all of these things.
I
I'm like,
saw that
is-
retweet or repost. Yep.
Yes.
I love
The
it.
embodiment of who I am.
Yeah.
Like, I literally could and want to do
You're
everything.
an entrepreneur.
I'm an entrepreneur.
Mhm, exactly. I'm obsessed with it.
So amazed.
Love it. Well, we today are going. I hate the transition, by the way. It's like my least favorite thing in the world. We talk about it all the time. I hate to be like, well, anyways. Today,
That's what editing's for.
Yeah, we're fucking,
Exactly.
we're done with talking.
We're done.
So yeah, this is,
All right.
the small talk is over.
That was
We're-
interesting
yeah.
enough. And I'm drawing blanks. And I'm stupid now that I'm a mom. It's literally the eye of the. Dylan, don't nod too
I'm agreeing with
reluctantly.
you because I agree
Please.
with women all the time.
Yeah, Dylan is
He's a feminist.
He's a feminist.
He's a feminist.
I'm gonna. Okay, here's the next shirt I'm gonna get you. Is the radical feminist shirt. My dad has it,
Yeah, I would wear it because
and everyone would be like, "He's gaslighting us."
Gaslighting everybody. He would go out to Target and all the women in the store in the aisles would be like,
Avoid him more.
Oh, without a
They'd be
doubt.
like, "Okay, all right."
like
I'm
okay,
like, for you guys.
raging lib.
Like you just walk up to a woman.
I get
See?
it. I
Do you
get
get
it.
it?
Yeah.
I see you, you see me, we see each other.
I see you.
I see you.
can't.
We relate.
I can't.
Okay, well, today, speaking of feminism, kind of. Speaking of liberal agendas,
Right.
we are going to be talking about.
I was gonna say something. No, you're fine.
I'm so scared.
I stopped.
Dylan, like, so, like, alters between joking about the liberal agenda to the point where I think he's going to get really canceled. There's going to be edits of him out of context that are just terrible.
Yeah.
Like, we have some QAnon jokes in some of them, and they're going to be like, Dylan's a QAnon conspiracy
Isn't that what you
theorist.
told Abby when you heard about our podcast? You said,
What?
If I was on there, I would get Dylan canceled so fast.
Like
Don't-
on accident though. Like it wouldn't even be. No, that's the bit.
I
is it
think
wouldn't
Dylan
be-
will get himself canceled. I
wouldn't be
don't
on
think it'll
purpose,
be
like-
you.
POV. There were some videos taken at a party once, and Dylan said something that was just like so out of pocket and so random, and he didn't even know the camera was rolling. That was the funniest bit. And so it's like that's what I'm saying is like it would happen unintentionally. Like I would just say something and Dylan would respond, and it would
Yes.
just be the most.
I
Like,
did forget
insane
about
take.
that. I was playing
I-
a character.
Okay, there were two videos
That's
on two
what
separate
everyone
nights that I
says.
got of him playing his character.
But
no, I would never like intentionally be like, oh my gosh, I want you to like say something so bad. It's so.
Oh, I
out of pocket."
appreciate that.
Dylan sucks.
Like if it happens, it'll happen.
Dylan's
Yeah,
YouTube
no.
apology video will be out
Yeah.
next week.
Yes.
And I'll be
Congrats.
playing
I'll
the
buy
drums
you-
instead of
I'll
a
buy you a
ukulele.
ukulele. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. A
Yeah.
triangle.
A triangle.
Toxic gossip. Da-dee-dee-dee-dee. Ew.
That's my biggest goal in life is to make an apology video like that, though.
I
I'm gonna
love
be
it.
honest.
Yeah, you
Like that's
can.
how you know you made it.
I think so too.
I
I
think
mean,
that,
like,
look at Trisha Paytas.
yes, Trisha Paytas. I
She is the
fucking
epitome.
love Trisha
The epitome.
Paytas
She's-
so much.
Barbie,
she's
Malibu
so
Barbie,
funny.
literally living her best life, gonna
Truly.
be literally so happy and so fruitful. And now Elvis is on the way. Are you kidding?
I know. Wait, is that what she's gonna name him?
Yes.
I love it. I think she's so funny.
I would die to be a part of that family.
I know. Can you imagine?
They're
be
actually not real.
First thing you see in the world, like Trisha Paytas. Hi, baby. I love it.
And growing up, and be like, yeah, that's my mother.
That's my
Who was it that died? And they
The
said
Queen
Oh
of
yeah,
England.
yeah.
The
That's
Queen
so-
of England died
Yeah, the
right when
same
she was having
day,
her
yeah.
baby, and they're like,
It got
"It's back
reincarnated.
Incarnation. I
She's
Incarnation.
back.
remember
The Queen of
that.
England
So
is
funny.
back.
so funny.
Oh my gosh.
The royal family and Trisha Paytas.
The royal family is, that is one topic I feel like I haven't delved really into. And I don't know if I want to.
I don't think so either because I think it's so messy no matter how you spin it.
And
I think it's
so intricate.
yes.
There are so many layers. There are so many nuances. And I don't
It's
think
crazy.
I'm ready to try to take all that on.
No, it's too much. I think it's too much.
Yeah.
I really like Princess Kate's like style and like all of that kind of stuff, but
Yeah.
I'm Not sure how I feel about her, especially as of late. But then also, I don't know. It's just so weird. What do you think, Dylan?
What are your thoughts on the royal family?
Fuck them. I don't know.
This is what I mean.
Another
Exhibit A.
video to the break.
Let's get a counter on the screen every time Dylan says something
Ding, ding.
so completely out of pocket that is just so unprompted. Number one.
Yeah, weren't they like racist?
Yes.
Yeah. So like, I don't care about them.
So fuck them.
Like, fuck them.
I think a lot of people would agree with you.
No,
actually.
I'm good.
No.
Yeah.
The royal family, a very, very polarized group of individuals.
I think so. Yeah. Oh, it's wild.
I completely agree.
Team Princess Diana.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
That's what I have to say
I
about
still
that.
don't have a Princess Diana shirt, and I'm so sad
Me
about
neither.
it.
I love those shirts. I want
Right?
them so
They're
bad.
so cute. Like, I
They're
have a
so
Dolly
cute.
Parton. I have a Jenny from the Block.
I love
Like,
the Jenny from the
I know.
Block.
It's literally
Ugh.
so iconic. And the
It
fact that I
is.
got it in Vegas, too, with everybody for
Yeah. Oh my
B-Day
gosh.
extravaganza.
I
Are you
love.
kidding?
So today we're going to talk about being gay and dating in Utah,
Boom.
which I feel like is so interesting. Everyone I talk about who, whether they're bi or gay, dating same-sex people, have such similar stories about what goes on.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of interested to like kind of deep dive into it more because also just dating in general, Dylan and myself have not dated at all for literally
No.
6 years.
I met my girlfriend.
Dylan's never
I was
dated.
16 years old. Yeah, and
So
that was
Dylan's
it.
never dated. I haven't dated for the last
How
6
old are you?
years.
22. I forgot for a second. I was
old
like
am I?
24. I don't know.
I was
No,
like,
yeah.
27? Is that why it took you so long?
No.
I'm kidding. I'm
Fuck.
kidding. I'm joking.
Jonah's 27.
Yeah.
Really?
Old
Yes,
as fuck.
He's
Yeah.
an old man.
Not you. How old are you? Can I ask?
25.
Okay. Gorgeous and stunning for
Yeah.
Can you shut up?
Fully developed though.
Yeah, my
Brain
brain's fully
fully
developed.
developed.
Frontal
so
cortex is there.
frontal
Yeah.
cortex is there, which also
Some others can't see the same.
I will
Yeah.
say,
Myself included.
Yeah.
when I turned 25, it did happen. I don't know how to explain it. My frontal cortex developed, and I was like, oh. Like,
The
I don't
day
know how
of.
to explain it. I'm
was
just
a
like,
shift.
okay, everything makes sense.
It didn't explain it. It didn't develop enough for you to explain it, but almost. It's like,
No.
Yeah, like,
You know what,
it's
Dylan?
still a little
Dylan is your biggest
complicated.
hater,
He is my biggest hater.
but I love it.
As a business partner, he's supposed to be my biggest advocate,
Yeah,
but
I
he's my
know.
biggest hater.
He keeps you on your toes.
Yeah,
he keeps
that's
you
true.
guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Even
He's
I'm
not-
guessing. I don't even know what he's gonna say
No
every
one
time.
knows
I'm
what he
cool. I'm
believes,
just be
what
chilling.
he stands for.
He's so cool and he just be chilling.
I'm just a chill ass viber, and a lot of people have
Quote
been
of the
saying
year.
that.
Quote of the
A
year.
lot of people think I'm
people-
cool.
It's Avery.
I don't think Avery
She doesn't think I'm that cool. But she's polite to me, and that's
She's polite.
He's
Yeah.
so polite.
She's polite.
I agree. Okay, so back to the topic.
Yes.
Back to the convo. I completely agree, right? So I've obviously also talked to other individuals in the queer community in Utah, and I think it's really interesting, especially in comparison to heterosexual dating and straight dating, right? I think especially with like the Mormon culture and the Mormon religion, it's so expected for couples who are in the church to find each other at a very young age, to stick together and to get married by the time that they're anywhere from like 19 to 21. That's like the sweet spot for marriage for
You're like an old maid
Practicing-
at the age of 22.
Right?
You're like an old maid.
Exactly. And so it's so interesting. So context, I grew up in Utah. I grew up in a very Republican conservative city specifically, and I did not grow up in the church, in the Mormon religion. That was not something that my family upheld. Obviously, I come from a cultural background, and so I don't have a similar experience of, you know, having that religious tie. And so I think that's also shifted the ways that I've been able to experience dating thus far.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think even growing up, just dating myself, like I had, like when I was a teenager, I had this not terrible experience, but at the time it was, where I like just fell in love with this guy, and it was just like so like swept off my feet. Like he was so into me, and like for like this week, and then like it was like, oh, like how do you feel about dating? And it was, oh, we don't have the same morals. And I think a lot of women and a lot of people who wanted to date in Utah who weren't LDS would start converting to the LDS religion, because I also think if you grew up in it, sometimes, not everyone, I think I'm the same as you, like you get to look at it from an outside perspective, but it makes you feel less than in a lot of ways. And I think, yes, 100%. In this really like condescending way also of like, oh, I just want to help you. Like, I just want to like I don't know. It's just so interesting.
Do service.
Yes, and it's in this very backtrack way, which I think happens a lot in the gay community also. Mm-hmm. I've had friends who have like really, really struggled because of the gaslighting I think they do to the queer community. Yeah. Like terribly. Like, oh, so we're your friends, but you literally are less than to me. This is your struggle, right?
Love the sin or hate the sin.
Yes, and I think that's so toxic. I think it's terrible. And it's sneaky, right? And I think it's interesting, like, versus, like, honestly, Baptist or, like, extreme religious, like, outward people. That's scary. But at least you know, right?
It's front-facing.
Mm-hmm. And that's why Utah is also interesting. And I think people also who leave the church carry a lot of that with them.
So much.
Which is also interesting in dating and, like, just like growing up here.
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Because typically, like, what you see and what you find, at least from my experience, is people who are ex-Mormon and they want to break free and they want to live their true, authentic life. But more oftentimes than not, you find these individuals caught in this absolute just cycle of trauma.
Yeah.
Of trauma that they cannot get out of. Like, the church has such... I don't even like calling it the church because I feel like it's giving it so much power and it doesn't deserve it.
I hate
the Mormon religion.
Yeah, those guys.
The Mormon... Those guys.
Those little fuckers over there.
Those guys.
The Mormon religion has such a grasp on, I think, so many people, especially who leave. Mm-hmm. And then adding on to that, being queer, right? It's like an added layer. It's an added hardship, adversity, hurdle to get over. And a lot of people have a really, really hard time doing that. And that's totally okay. Like, right? Obviously, I respect everybody's experiences and backgrounds and upbringings. But the harm that it causes is absolutely so apparent, right? Because I obviously had a very fortunate experience with my family, with my coming out experience, that I was supported and that I was loved, right? By the people that I love most and care the most about. And that obviously very much shaped me into the person I am today, as outwardly just kind of myself that I am, right? Obviously, like, look at me. Like, come on. Take it in. Take it in.
You know who you are.
Exactly.
You feel good about it.
And I have that at the age of 21, right? Obviously, I'm still on my own self-discovery and still on my own journey, but so many others that are my age are just really getting their toe in the water.
Yeah.
And it's really difficult. It's really hard.
I do think also, one thing I will say is growing up not Mormon in a Mormon state, you do kind of like have a crash course of like really finding your authentic self. You either go one way, you either try to like cater to that, right? Or you are very much like, no, okay, like this is myself. You really get to know your own identity. I think that happened with me a little bit too. Like, you really get to know yourself. And I think that's really hard, especially like growing up like in such a like hateful, I don't want to say hateful because that sounds
more
aggressive.
like judgy, just
judgmental, yes,
yeah.
Judgmental area, but it does really give you a really good sense of self, and I think that is. I'm glad I have that, and I'm glad that you have that. It does like help, I think, in navigating, but it's still hard.
No, I completely agree.
Yeah,
I completely agree because obviously growing up in that environment, right, it was so easy to feel the need to be like everybody else, right? I wasn't a practicing Mormon, and it was made very, very clear by my interactions with friends at a very young age. Like, I'm talking like elementary, middle school. These topics of conversation were coming up. And it was so easy for me to just be like, you know what, I want to fit in. I want to just like be this cookie cutter standard that everybody lives up to and that everybody upholds. And then I got to 16 and I was like in sophomore year, transferred high schools because my experience at my original one in that same city was beyond my experience, or beyond words, I would say.
Kids
and
are
so
mean.
I know.
Kids are vicious.
Oh, awful. Brighton.
Oh,
Brighton High School. Are you kidding me?
Oh.
And so I transferred to a much more diverse and a much more accepting and a much more progressive high school. And I found my people and I found myself, right? I was so removed from this like idea that I needed to be so perfect in that regard, right? Where it's like, I need to be so good and I need to act as if I'm a Mormon, but I would never even consider being a part of it.
Yes, it is that balance, right? Of like, I want to like be accepted, but I don't want to compromise myself.
And my own
but then
values.
you realize you can't do both.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dylan, I want your perspective on this.
Me?
Yeah, give it a whirl. Because you grew up in Roy.
Yeah, but I wasn't. All my friends were Mormon, but I didn't grow up Mormon or anything. So they invited me to church, and then they would, whenever you go over to their house and eat dinner, they just like fold their arms. It was weird. I don't know. I was just like, all right.
I do feel like compared to like mine and Abby's experiences versus my brother Aiden's, boys don't quite have the same experience, like straight men especially. I think because it's very much just like you're already kind of their ideal person. You already have these, you know what I mean? Because it's such a patriarchal religion.
And like a lot of the guys are like barely Mormon anyways.
Yes.
Like so they're just like
I think they're way
they
more
just go to church and they're like
that's such
Mormon,
an interesting.
They serve their missions, but before their missions, they have these engagements and these experiences that go directly against every single thing that their church upholds. And they still go for 2 years.
I also think it's a very common thing for men to not want to go and then the wives to be responsible for like the men's attendance. I do think a lot of like the representation of the family in the church is so put on the women too. It's so interesting.
Well, even now, right? Like I have grown older and I've talked to a lot of my friends who were a part of the church, and their fathers are always the ones to leave first.
Because they feel more comfortable, I think.
Exactly.
There's less
Societal pressure.
Yes, exactly.
well, either that or they're like scary about it though.
Yeah,
like
well,
some of my friends'
also,
dads are like so scary.
Yeah, because they are taught that they're in charge. They're also taught that they can make the decisions, right?
Yeah, the gender norms are so heavily
upheld. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
It really is.
Well,
even now,
I know people who like their ideal, like these are women. Their ideal lifestyle is to get a husband, to become a homemaker, to have children immediately, right? Like, I think Mormonism is a complete, like, reflection of what society looked like in, like, the 1960s.
yes, I know. And they all, like, I don't know. What's also bothering me right now, like we were kind of talking about with the way they talk about, like, the queer community, is the, like, pretending like they're not. I think, especially, like, if people listen, I do feel like there's potential we'll get the comments of like, oh, well, no, we're happy about what people do. Like there's all have you read the family proclamation to the world? It's very interesting. It's like, and a lot of people hold it in their houses. Like they frame them and it is like, the father is in charge. The mother should like, it's literally like this, like, and it's word from God, right? Like their prophet speaks to God. Right. So it's just like, you can't really interpret it the way you can interpret other religions. It's very much just like, no, you're not okay with this. Stop pretending like you're trying to change things or be progressive. It kind of bothers me when they do that because it does feel like gaslighting.
No, I'm just, yeah, that's true.
That is true. You look really comfortable.
I'm actually, these chairs are a little less. Those ones are pretty good.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm loving this.
I gave the special chair.
Yeah,
I didn't want to bring the other chair up because I took it down for Christmas decorations.
Yeah.
I'd fit my tree.
Yep, how to get her in.
I freaking love. I love my tree.
It's giving very much like How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Yes, it's like kind of vintage, kind of like.
Yeah. Like Cindy Lou. This would be Cindy Lou. This would be Cindy Lou who's tree for sure.
I love it. I wish I put more bows on it though.
Yeah, no, the bows are so in right now.
And I would have bought more tinsel.
I saw a funny tweet about the Grinch. Was like, is the Grinch a slur or like, is that his race, his name, or?
Oh, that's funny.
What?
I've seen that before. Like, is that his name?
What is it?
Mr. Grinch is his name. He is a Grinch.
Yeah.
What is there more Grinches, or what is it with that?
Well, like in the Jim Carrey movie, he flies. He's a what? He's like a what instead of a who, I think.
Oh yes.
Because the dad goes, he's more of a what or something like that.
Than a who.
So
they were making
his
puns
name
in
is the
that
Grinch.
movie.
Yeah, of course, classic.
That movie's iconic though. Okay, but can we talk about Cat in the Hat? I need to rewatch
Oh
that
my
movie
God.
again because I get so many like random like video clips on my TikTok from it.
It's a
and I'm
dream.
literally like, there's no way that was actually real. Like,
No.
that was not the
Okay,
actual
so
movie.
do you remember when we had Loyal living with us? He's kind of my cousin. Like, he got his wisdom teeth removed, and they put Cat in the Hat on for him to watch, and he did not have a good time. I was like, that is so mean. I think he cried. I'm not gonna say he cried. Sorry, Loyal. I don't think he cried.
Allegedly.
But was scarred.
Allegedly.
But was scarred.
But I'm pretty sure I was like, why would you do that?
If I watched
Like,
Cat in the
he's just
Hat
like-
under that much laughing gas, under that much like whatever he was on, oh my
That'd
goodness.
That'd be it for me.
I would literally never be
Thank
able
you,
to recover.
cameraman Dylan.
Yeah, no, this is perfect.
Thank you for your service.
I know.
I can say that because my husband's a vet.
And he's braver. He's braver than the Marines. Come on.
Truly, I would say so.
I am.
He's doing the hard labor of flipping the camera screen over to us so that we
Braver
can
than any
can
US
have the
Marine.
privilege of
It's
seeing what
actually
we're
for
looking
me,
like.
just so I know that if I lean too far back, I'm not.
I
out
feel
of the
like I'm gonna
frame.
fall out of this chair. Like a
Yeah,
what?
it's a little slippery.
You're a leaner, yeah.
He's casual. He's cool.
Lean with it, rock with it.
Chill
Sorry.
ass Survivor. I've been down.
Chill ass
All my
Survivor.
ladies,
Yeah, I know. Guys, I'm so excited for this week. I need to shake my little tush.
I need to go out again. Have you seen the TikTok that's like, don't go out with your mom friends, they're insane? I know that's going to be me. I'm like, I have not been out in so long.
No, but you need to come.
When I'm done breastfeeding, I'm going to go feral.
Yeah.
That's when everyone's going to see videos of me on the internet like, she's a mother. Like,
okay, also, why are we not talking about, you like will casually repost these videos and I'm like, girl, you have been like reposted on like some of the most well followed like meme accounts.
I did go viral this
for
week.
I know. For your pregnancy video.
It was so funny. It's the video
and
of me.
It's so good.
And what's funny about it is live footage. I am about to give birth
real.
and I have that moment of like, what the fuck? I say that in the video. I go, what the fuck?
I think like mouth it. It was so good.
And Abby is playing Crazy Frog. The song Crazy Frog. Abby is legitimately playing that song. She was when I was changing into my hospital gown, she was playing it.
Yeah.
So like for a good 10 minutes, Crazy Frog was going on. And I couldn't tell if it was in my head or real because that's how my head felt. I was like, a baby is about to come out of my body.
A baby is literally about to exit this premises.
It's fucking insane if you think about it.
Wild.
If you think about it for too long. If I think about it for too long, I'm like, wow, I cannot believe that happened.
Was that before you were about to like start pushing or when you were
No, it was like I got to the hospital. It was like I got to the hospital.
But it was way before you even knew about the C-section?
Way before any of the crazy shit that happened.
Yeah.
Which I never saw it coming. I was scared before I even knew that crazy shit was going to happen.
Yes,
I was like, wow.
No one could have guessed it.
That was
crazy. Do you
crazy.
remember when Ian dressed up as Crazy Frog?
Yes, I do.
Oh my gosh, I vividly remember that. It was like Halloween last year.
Yeah.
And I remember walking in and seeing him and I was like, wait, what is he?
His Halloween costumes are so funny.
He's so funny with it.
It was so funny.
He is... My favorite costume, or when I first met Ian, he dressed up as Sexy Garfield, and that was his name to me for I think about a year. He had a tramp stamp.
So funny.
And so his name was Sexy Garfield. I was like, oh, Sexy Garfield. Like when he started dating
so
Allison, I was like, oh, Sexy Garfield. Allison's dating Sexy Garfield. Wow, good for her.
Stop. No, but I love a good costume. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's something I'm going to speak on for a second. Can we please, as a society, rid ourselves of Angel, of Cat, of any single like stereotypical, like come on, you guys, it is too far gone. Come up with something a little fun.
Hunter and Deer is on my shit list. I hate Hunter and Deer,
and that's like, so Utah coded too. It's so Utah coded.
Every time I see that, I go, they haven't had sex in 3 years. I'm sorry.
PTSD to like school dances.
Yes,
like Halloween themed ones. Every single group went as a little like Hunter and Deer.
I hate it.
No, it's awful.
No one dresses Barbie this year also.
Okay, that was the thing. I saw this video as well that was saying how the video or the costumes that you think are going to be the most like trendy and the most present are not. Like I went to my fair share of Halloween shindigs and I saw very minimal Barbie costumes. Like very minimal.
I saw 2.
Yeah, 2. It was very rare.
It was very minimal.
I thought that was just because we had a Barbie party.
I know. Well, that made me think more people would have Barbie costumes. I thought, but you know, Halloween's a big deal. I think for the community that we are all in, and like all of our little sub communities. Everyone loves Halloween.
I love it.
I love themed parties too.
Like POV, last year I was Kris Jenner.
That was so funny.
Insert photo here, Dylan. So hilarious, and that was probably my most iconic Halloween costume to date.
It was so good.
It was so good. It could not have come out better. It was my natural hair too, and I got the little banging going on, and it was perfect.
I loved it.
I know. And then this year I was Danny Phantom.
I loved Danny
Phantom. Danny Phantom was fun.
That was a good one.
Danny Phantom was really fun. He's gonna put it in. Watch. But Danny Phantom was really fun because it was like. I love having a mix of costumes because I do at least 3 or 4 every year.
It's so fun.
Exactly.
This is the first. Oh no, I had 2 costumes this year. I was like, this is the first year. No.
What were your costumes?
I was Sarah and Jareth from Labyrinth. It's like this 80s movie.
Yes, no, the Labyrinth is amazing with David Bowie.
My first celebrity crush ever was David Bowie. I looked at him and I was like, wow, I would probably give him my baby. Now, I don't think so. I really like Eloise, but she was the baby. But I told Dylan this. I didn't want to be like the mommy influencer who makes her kid be like the sub character. So we did a second costume, and she was the chicken, which was so fucking
she was eating her feathers.
She was eating her feathers.
I know. I remember at the tailgate, I saw her, and I was like, girl, put them out. Put them out of your mouth.
I know. I was like, she is going to choke. Like, it was a little stressful.
Babies just eat everything, and honestly, I respect it.
Yeah,
I wish I was more like that now. Yeah. Why am I not just putting things in my mouth? I'm kidding. That was not real. Anyways, what were you for this Halloween, Dylan? I don't remember.
I was Bob from Bob's Burger.
Oh yes, you and all the roomies did.
That was the video.
Yeah. Those 2 things.
Walter White.
That was the video.
Who's Walter White?
From Breaking Bad.
like the meth cook.
The meth cook.
I've never seen Breaking
Both
Bad,
chefs.
guys.
Sorry,
I've never
spoilers,
seen
man.
it either.
I've never seen it.
I started like the first 3 episodes.
There are so many shows that I've never seen, but I'm like definitely the type of person where it's like everybody watches it, and so therefore I don't want to. Exhibit A, The Office.
You've never
Exhibit
seen The
B,
Office?
Friends.
I don't like Friends.
Exhibit C, That 70s
Friends.
Show, which honestly I'm glad about because they had the most insane controversy
Crazy.
this year.
I know.
But all of these like very stereotypical shows, I feel like I gear away from because I don't think they're funny or entertaining. I don't.
think that's fair. I don't think Friends or That 70s Show is very funny.
Yeah.
I did like The Office, but I did like start watching Friends and I was like, I don't get it. And my mom was like, it was the humor of the time. And I'm kind of like I guess it's because it was like the first sitcom-y like thing ever. And I think that's why. But other people do like it, but I don't think it's that funny either.
Or like Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, I've never seen that one either.
Okay,
I
but
don't watch that.
all I've heard also before I get into Gilmore Girls with The Office, apparently The Office, like our version right in America, is literally just like a parody, I guess, of the original that was done in
England,
in
with
UK. Yeah,
Ricky Gervais.
right.
Not that guy's.
And maybe
He's
I'll try
so
that one.
interesting.
Maybe I'll give
I
that
don't
one a
like
whirl.
him.
I think I've watched the first 2 episodes of the UK one. I don't remember what I thought of it.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's terrible.
Not enough to keep
because
watching
the
it.
first season of The Office sucks ass too. So
You
it's-
watch it and you're
that's
just
why
like
it's
so
only the first
uncomfortable.
season, yeah.
And I think you're supposed to be uncomfortable.
But then they were
but-
like, but that's not very watchable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Well,
one
and also
wants to watch
comedy that makes you uncomfortable is so interesting to me. Like,
Yeah.
at what point are we pushing boundaries? Especially when you're making jokes about things that don't have to do with you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think the humor of The Office
you know
too
what I mean?
is just something I don't.
You don't know what I
But
mean?
I believe you.
I can't get my head around.
Like,
What do you?
I don't think the humor of The Office is funny. Like, I don't think a lot of the bits that they carry out and a lot of the things, like, I think, okay, this is like, I think something that's very similar but different font is Modern Family. I think Modern Family is really funny.
I like
Modern
Modern
Family's
Family.
awesome.
But I think it's because there's depth, right? Obviously, it's a
Yes.
very mindless show where it's like there's not an insane plot going on, but there's enough of a storyline and enough character development that
I
keeps
see
you
what you're saying.
engaged.
Wait, what did you? There's what?
Depth.
Enough depth.
Oh, I thought you said death. Okay, I was
Oh.
like, I don't remember.
I don't
anybody
remember that
dies.
part of
I don't
Modern
remember,
Family.
I'm still watching it for the first time, and I'm not through it yet because it's actually so long. But
It is.
Yeah,
There's a
it's
lot
like-
of seasons.
I'm going.
I don't think I've watched that.
And I'm
one
not a
through.
huge like committal person when it comes to like watching series that are super insanely long.
Yeah.
I'm picky about series. I'm
me
very
too.
picky. I don't want it to be too serious, but I don't want it to be too slapsticky. I have to
Exactly.
find like an in between.
Speaking of, have either of you guys watched Fellow Travelers yet?
Abby's watching that right now.
Yes, I got her on.
I've seen commercials for
You
it.
need to watch it. You need
I
to.
it just looks sad though. And I'm like,
What
No,
is it?
it's
Is it a reality
definitely,
show,
it's
or-
definitely, no. Let me give you some context. It's definitely not lighthearted by any means. There are so many layers, and I think it touches on a lot of really important things that happen in history, especially for the queer community. We're going to relate it back, love a little tie-in. And so Fellow Travelers basically follows the storyline of 2 individuals, Tim and Hawk. Hawk previously served in a war. I'm not going to say which one. I'm not a history girl. And
the one close to the 80s.
essentially it was. So the storyline basically follows present day and in the past. So the past is 1950s during the Lavender Scare, where there was like a really big amount of communism that was happening in the United States, and a lot of that was pushed onto queer individuals. And they were often outed, they were often ostracized and removed from positions even, right, for government.
Which
for
I wouldn't
example.
know if the show didn't exist.
Right. It's actually so interesting, right? Because I've learned about this stuff in history classes, right? But you don't get this type of insight, especially when it comes to the queer community, because history is so often
It's very glazed over.
glazed
Like,
over
oh, yeah.
and like one-sided. It's like it's like I don't care about Thomas Jefferson.
Please, I've heard enough.
I
about
don't
him.
care.
That's
So it's a really interesting concept. And then it's present day, which is the 80s, which is during the AIDS epidemic. And so it's a really, really good insight onto what it was like having gay experiences, especially for men during that time frame. And watching it, I relate a lot to it, right? Just seeing all of these things, and it's very emotional. And I think it's because, right, we obviously know this, history loves to repeat itself. There are always going to be common motifs, common themes as we go on in life and in time. And I think that sort of sentiment is so real today, right? Where it's like we've grown
yeah.
and we've progressed so much as a society in comparison to what life was like in the 50s and in the 80s, right? But especially in a state like Utah, and especially in a state that is so conservative and religiously driven, those same sentiments are so real.
It's crazy.
Right? Because a lot of the show is like this secrecy, these like behind closed doors interactions, like this like front facing, saving face. I'm in this government position. I have all these eyes on me. So as a result, I'm going to pretend and showcase as if I am this like very like prim and proper young man. And behind closed doors, I'm going to basically be a little bunny rabbit that just goes to town. And it's so real. It's so real.
It is. It's such a sneaky, like, I'm trying not to be mean when we talk about.
I know.
I'm trying to, like, very, like.
I'm trying to be
cultural.
critical, and I'm trying to be critical, but I'm also trying to be real, right?
Yeah.
And so it's definitely really interesting, right? Especially because like I will just speak on just like one experience, for example. So this was about a year ago. I was on Tinder, as one does, and I matched with this seemingly nice individual, this nice guy. We got to chatting. He was at BYU, Brigham Young University. And
Everyone's seen the TikToks of the BYU interviews.
I know the Black Menaces. They are doing the Lord's work.
No, literally.
And he and I were chatting, and it just so crazily in conversation got brought up by him of how this is like a brand new experience for him, and how he doesn't want to initiate anything or make any of the first moves. And it was just so bizarre to me because I was like, okay, you are willingly on this dating website, I'm sure on men and women, and you are treating gay men on this app who you can see are very comfortable with their sexuality, are very sure of themselves, and using that as a way to gain something, as a way to make yourself feel like you are more a part of this community. But then as a result, making me feel like I'm this like guinea pig / experiment that you want to be able to utilize to get a way up into the world of being a gay man or being a bi man or being a queer man, whatever it is. And it's so apparent. I had to obviously let this individual know, like, hey, I'm not comfortable with this. I wish you the best of luck in your journey and in your experience. But I myself could not subject myself to somebody that I know for a fact is so uncertain, is so unsure, and is so misguided right now.
And also putting the responsibility of his sexuality and his journey on you.
Like, hey, just letting you know, I want you to do all the work and I want to just take a back seat.
Here, take me on this journey. I don't want to do the work myself. Like, here we go. And
exactly.
Like, it's that entitlement still that sits within them of like, I need this from you. You don't know me.
I deserve this.
Yes, I deserve this.
Exactly.
Yes. Oh, it's so.
Should have reported his ass to the code. Or what is it like? What is it that they have to follow?
The
policy,
the guidelines, the community guidelines.
There it is.
I don't know if this is chill.
It's super. It's not chill.
Tinder,
it is not chill. And it's so common. Like there are so many people, right? And I think this also is a very interesting topic because in my opinion, I think that the Mormon or the Utah dating experience has absolute direct ties to Mormonism. I think that the people in this state who are gay men and that are the most palatable and are the most digestible, not only in the community, but by others within the state, are these very straight passing cis white men, typically from Utah County and ex-Mormon. And so that is the standard that is upheld in Utah. And so coming from an experience of somebody who does not fit any of those descriptors, it's been really difficult because you are surrounded by all of these people that look nothing like you, that act nothing like you, that have no similar experience to you, right? There's obviously commonalities, but it's like a complete night and day difference when you really think about it.
No, for real. And not acknowledging their own privileges in that way. Like, because obviously they have their own struggles to go through, but there is privilege within that still very much that is not being acknowledged. Like being like, oh, we're the same. We're having the same experience. And they're not. They're not having the same experience as you. And like they just the like idea of like, oh, no, I'm a part of this. I get to take all of this in. And like it just again with going back to the privilege of I don't know. I think that's the biggest commonality in all of this, especially with like Mormon white men is the privilege. And like I think it's just very interesting.
I completely agree.
And how they do you think you got it all?
Probably. Hopefully they can hear it. actually.
Hopefully our editors.
Hopefully
our amazing team of editors can really make
Geek
Which
Squad.
is just me fucking just exhausted. An hour, 2 hours into listening to myself
What's the
talk.
TikTok sound? They're like, I'm spinning like a, and then the ho ho. That's Dylan, and I'm like doing the social media. I'm watching the shorts. I'm like, oh, this is so fun.
And I'm
Dylan's grinding in the
wiping my
background,
brow.
getting the fucking
3 hours
editing.
of just listening to myself.
Just
I
listening to
know.
yourself.
It's actually torture. It's actually, I don't know.
That would be hard.
And then
I'm glad
I
I
keep
don't have to listen
rewinding,
to
listening
myself.
to myself say the
Same thing.
dumbass joke.
You're like,
and
do
I'm
I know how to pronounce the word carrot? I'm saying it.
No, I'm like a little nervous. Yeah, because it's always scary hearing your voice over camera.
It is. It's so different.
I know.
I'm used to it now because I just force. I hate it, but
You have to.
can tolerate
You do what
it.
you got to do.
Yeah.
You're standing on business, and that's all that matters.
You're an entrepreneur
I'm an entrepreneur.
mindset.
You're doing it.
I'm taking one of those classes next semester.
Good.
I could teach it though, so I'll be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
you'll
do
be
it
fine.
I can teach it to me, and then
So-
we'll,
Yeah, he'll offer you a TA
Expand.
position by the
Yeah.
first day, without
Yes,
a doubt.
this guy
You know
knows
a few
what's
things.
up.
You know a few things.
This guy's smart.
Anyway, sorry, we had to take a break, but you can go
Yes,
back. to what
intermission.
you're saying.
But
Breather.
we are back. What I was going to speak on is how prevalent fetishization is within the queer community, and especially in Utah. And I think this branches beyond the queer community and also very much touches on straight men and women, where I think, especially, right, I can speak on my experience real quick, where I think that my appearance and I think that the femininity that I am able to express within myself is often fetishized by men, where they see it.
Really?
Oh, without a
I didn't
doubt.
know that. What?
Where they
Because
see
you're
it.
normal.
Well, no, I
because
just
you're
want-
because you're normal.
Yeah.
And you haven't experienced it. It's
Exactly. But it's
guess I'm
very,
not just straight,
it's
but-
very, very real.
That's
Where
I
it's
never heard
so fetishized and hyper fixated on, where it's like, I love like your femininity, right? But it's like that is all they can see. Or like, I love that you're Hispanic. I love
was
Latino
gonna
men.
say,
Like
yeah.
that is a huge thing as well, because the dating pool, or I should say puddle, in Utah is 98% white. And so, right, because I am this minority, right, it has its I wouldn't even say pros and cons, it's all cons, of where people don't like me or do not have an interest in me because I'm so far away from what they're used to. I'm so far from the norm, the societal norm of, again, that like straight passing white whole bit. And then there's the flip end where people see that and they like desire it so much because it is so different. And so it's a very, very weird thing to have. And I have lesbian and bisexual friends, women, and they are experiencing the same type of sentiment where these lesbian women will be hit on by other women, straight women, at different bars, example Waikiki. And if you don't know, it's a silent disco bar here in Utah, but it's so common. Or like straight men love the idea of two women doing their little thing, right?
Yep.
But they're like, bro, no, no homo, bro, no homo, no homo. Like, you know what I mean? It's like in the same line, in the same sentence. They're
and
like,
those
oh
straight
yeah.
women like going up to kiss like lesbians and bisexuals and like this. It's so disrespectful, and it's again like women know what it's like to be so sexualized and objectified, and they're doing that to
Yes.
other women.
Yes, and
It's so not fair.
objectification is so
Objectification.
huge in the gay community and again in Utah. And I think this spreads across everywhere. But I think that to be a gay man, you have to look a certain way in order to be accepted by so many other people. Right? So like if you are not like jacked and ripped and super, super skinny like gay man, you are therefore most likely going to be undesirable by the majority of others, because it's like this insane ingrained belief in so many people's head that you need to fit this hyper masculine standard to be viewed as
It's the internalized homophobia, the internalized misogyny. Like it's very just like
it jumps out.
it goes back to like people who even leave the Mormon religion, like it's still ingrained in their brains. Or if you grow up with it, sometimes like people do just take on those beliefs, whether
Yeah.
or not they know that they do.
Exactly. No, I think that it absolutely has to do with internalized homophobia, and I think it's so common. And also the whole like DL side of the gay experience is very interesting, because there are so many straight men And I personally don't dabble in this side of things because I think that it's very, very harmful and it's very, very toxic. And I feel for all my friends who have dealt with it. But
what is
go.
DL?
Down low.
Oh, that's crazy. I did know that.
Okay.
Continue.
Down low men, discreet men, whatever you want to call it.
What did you think it was?
I don't know. I thought it was like some phrase. Wait, you mean is this like a type of man that's DL, or are you just using it as a?
So a man who is down low or discreet likes to have sexual experiences or romantic experiences with men behind closed doors, out of the limelight, outside of public perception.
I did misunderstand. Okay, good.
You got it.
Thank God.
You're good.
That's crazy.
We're educating here. And
that's the point of the podcast.
Exactly.
We love to educate. We love to explain.
And so I think that's another side of things that is so common because relating to the Mormonism and relating to the Mormon church, it is filled with secrecy. It is filled with lies. It is filled with skeletons in your closet. And this is a prime example. There are so many men who want to have these experiences, but don't want a single person to know about it. And I think that is so terrifying because it's leaves
unsafe.
Men who are comfortable with themselves and with their sexuality and with their experience, it leaves them in a place of feeling like they're closeted or that they are, you know what I mean? It's like, to me, it feels like back to square one.
I was going to say.
Have not come out yet. I'm just like this
that
little.
That has to be triggering
It
in
is.
a lot
It
of
absolutely
ways.
is. And that's why I don't dabble. I can't do that because I don't care to jeopardize my own experience to benefit somebody else.
I think that's so good for you and yourself to like feel so sure of yourself, because I think in a lot of those situations, like people have those self-doubts anyways and they continue to feel that way.
Yeah.
So it's lucky. I was also going to say, I think a big part of the fetishizing of like everyone in Utah is there is a like insane amount of adult film consumption in Utah. Like an insane amount that really like affects like adult film. I don't want to say.
No, we're good.
Like, it's gross. But
tuxedo on right now.
It like what?
You're just like so formal.
Adult film. I don't like the word porn.
No, I don't
think
either.
It's gross.
I think adult content, adult film is good.
And it like I think it really affects specifically men and how they view sexuality. I think it's so every interaction in porn is so harmful and so so objectifying, so fetishizing, and it is like especially like because sexuality is not talked about in Utah, I think a lot of men can consume it at such a young age where it's forming how they view sexuality at all. And so it just creates this really, really unhealthy like relationship to any sort of sexuality. And any woman, any person, like I think it really affects like everyone.
I agree.
It's
I
insane.
completely agree. That's
I think porn is really harmful, and I think there's a big epidemic of it in Utah. Like realistically, I know like people watch porn, but the way it's consumed in Utah is so insane. And it, again, just like not realizing it's unrealistic and think like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not separating the two things.
Yeah. But to carry on with that, like it is such an outlet because so many people are resorting to this adult content.
Yes.
Because they are not allowed or not expected to have shamed and guilt tripped for having sexual experiences of their own in the real world.
Yes.
Right? So they are taking what's given to them online, and that is what they perceive and that is what they view as sex. And that is what they believe it should look like. And it's degrading,
normal.
It's demeaning, it is harmful, and it is so scary.
Yes.
Like
it's so
it is
scary.
so scary. Weigh in.
I agree. No. I saw a thing that it was like a chart of like the most searched categories for every state, and Utah's was lesbian. So I was like, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Because it's very,
and it's
not
just,
allowed in Utah,
it's also men producing these films. It's not real women like.
And their sexual experiences.
It's not real interactions. And I also think, okay, here's an interesting question for everyone at the table.
Let's hear it.
Do you think there is a way to make empowering porn?
Because, I think OnlyFans.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, because then they don't, like, you produce it yourself, and you don't have to, like, you can do whatever you want instead of having, like, someone else tell you.
True. I think that's as true as it can be. I don't like the idea of prostitution or sex work at all. In the way of, like, I really respect women who do it, but I do think no matter what, it comes from oppression and the patriarchy. And I think women who do it, like, I have no judgment against sex workers themselves, but I think it comes from patriarchy, and I think it comes from pleasing men, and I think it comes from this like unhealthy obsession with objectifying.
Yeah.
I think in any way you turn it, it's objectifying.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of hard for me. And I think like, what do you think?
I guess I don't know. I'm kind of pro it just because if
I think
people
that's
want
fine.
to do it.
And I think that makes sense. And that's the argument, right? I think that's the argument, is that people are like, no, I'm doing this. Like and also I think there's an argument for taking power back too.
Right.
Which I respect. And like if other women want to like tell me that, I respect it and I believe it. I think it's just hard because I think porn is so unethical, and the creation of porn is from objectification. It's still sticky, right? It still has that element to it, I think.
Yeah.
But I still think like women who want to take that power back, that's fine. And like, I think people who want to take that power back, like it's 100% their own thing. And I do think it's kind of personal.
Yeah.
But it's hard to separate the two thing. I think it's so personal, but I think it's hard to separate the two. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I totally see that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think about that a lot, because I think like the right to choose also brings back power, and to like do it for yourself brings back that power. It's just hard. I think it's again one of those things that like it's so complicated.
It is. It absolutely is.
It's so complicated.
And I think each like creator especially is so different in the ways that they view and the ways that they approach the work that they do.
Yes.
And I think that's really important. I think intention is always going to be the most crucial aspect of really anything and everything. And so I feel like if people, right, are choosing to you know, create this content and to produce that, I think if it's coming from a place of good intention, I totally respect it.
100%. And I do, like I said, like I think it is like, if people want to and people feel good about it, I think there is a way to do it ethically.
Yeah.
I think it's just hard to, I think you're always exposing yourself to those people still, and like that objectification, like I think it's hard because there's still going to be those people who are consuming porn in such a like toxic way that will find you.
Yeah.
Which that's the bad part.
That's the part of the consumption,
like,
the consumer.
If it was just normal ass
like
people.
your consumers still can be those very, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think like sex workers are like respectable. I think it is what it is. And like people can do it in ways that they feel comfortable.
Yeah.
It's just, again, like the consumption of it.
It probably is like, it sucks because the bad definitely outweighs like.
Yes, I think that's what it is. I think the bad
like,
outweighs the
like
good in some ways.
Yeah.
But also people like make a really good living off of it. And I think like, so.
Which that's tight.
And find satisfaction within it.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And
I think if people want to feel empowered in places where they didn't feel empowered before, I think that's great too.
Yeah, power to them. Absolutely. Okay, another topic that I want to chat about, open relationships.
Oh, that's such a Utah
Because it is
thing.
very Utah. Everyone watching this is probably like, can they shut up about Utah? No, we can't, because we have to live in it and experience it every single day.
The reality of it.
And the second that I graduate and able to jump ship,
You're out of here.
I am. But I think open relationships are so interesting. And disclaimer, these are my own feelings. These are my own experiences. These are my own thoughts. Totally respect anybody who decides to uphold polyamory and wants to be in an open relationship. To each their own.
Oh wait, before that, if you could be in your top 5 people that you'd want to be in your polycule.
So here's the thing: is I am actually a very monogamous individual, especially when it comes to dating. And so I can't think of 5 people off the top of my head that I'd be like, oh yeah, I'd want those guys. They
don't have to be real people. Well, no, they do. Okay, they have to be real, but not like people you know. I mean,
like celebrities, whatever.
Yeah.
I literally.
Your top 5? Oh, you can't. You would.
Who's your top 5?
Okay.
I'd have to like do some.
Is
like,
Avery?
digging.
Okay, so here's the question: is it you and Avery and a third person, or is
No,
it
I would
you and
never
just
want that. That'd be
Yeah,
weird.
you'd get jealous. You'd be like,
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
that's
So
my girlfriend.
This is like. This is like if Avery died.
Opening
like
a can of
10
worms
years
he's
ago.
not ready to open. Go ahead.
Okay.
If Avery died and on her deathbed said, Dylan, I want you to be in a polyamorous relationship.
The Queen of England.
Okay.
For the money or what?
Well, and she's
definitely the
dead.
money.
So I get her money. No, not Queen of England. I would say.
Again,
That's
with the
actually
Brits, he's
hard.
gonna make
I
English
see
mad.
what I did to you. Paul Rudd.
Like Paul Rudd, of course.
That's Dylan's
Matthew
boyfriend.
McConaughey, Bradley
not
Cooper.
Matthew. No. Bradley Cooper. That guy, I hate that guy now.
You hate Bradley Cooper?
Yeah, have you seen like all this stuff
What?
he's been saying?
No.
I watched his actors on actors thing
Uh-huh.
with who was he with? I think Emma Stone, and he like directed
I
his
love
own
Emma
movie,
Stone.
and he brought
I love
up
Emma
every 10 seconds. He's like, "Yeah, I actually directed it too, but I was also in it." Anyway,
That's
it was
so
really
funny.
annoying.
That's
So
so,
not Bradley Cooper.
Olivia
You're
Wilde
just
coded.
a man. Olivia Wilde.
I didn't love Don't Worry Darling, but
I didn't either.
POV, I fell asleep in the theater.
I did not
And I
like
don't
it.
do that.
I didn't like it.
Yeah.
She
Talked about that last week.
Yeah,
I do not like it.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And Olivia Wilde was so just like, here's my lines.
Pick me. Pick me.
Oh, so interesting.
Anyways, yeah, it's actually too hard to pick.
Right? It's
5
difficult.
people is a lot, and it'd be weird for them all to be together.
It's giving sister wives, babe.
It is. And we all know how that went.
Terrifying. So scary.
Yeah.
But open relationships, I think, are very, very common. I think in Utah overall, but especially when it comes to gay men, is what I've seen, and I would say gay women as well. But obviously, that's just my take. And I think a lot of it is rooted in this idea of experimentalism, that everybody just like feels the need to take ownership over. Right? So I think that there are a lot of people who get into relationships very quickly and then recognize the lack of the needs that they want, especially in a sexual way. And so instead of like being like, okay, maybe this isn't the partner for me, they seek those experiences outside of the relationship. And that is where I find a lot of complications, because I think that these people who are in these relationships and are so able and so easily willing to hop around,
Like cherry picking.
Exactly. Cherry pick throughout the community. Like, okay, I want that one and that one and that one because I think that he can offer me this, and I think that he can offer me this, and he can offer me this. And I think it ties into this like usury that happens where these men are like, okay, well, like I love my partner, but there's always the but I want to experiment. I want to have this type of relationship. I want to have this type of sexual encounter. I want to have whatever it may be. And then it leaves the cherry picked in a very, very rough position where they are like, okay, I was just a means to an end. Right? And I think that's very, very detrimental to somebody's own experience and to somebody's own growth.
It doesn't take into account that people are people who have
feelings and
who
emotion,
want connections, who like, and I think it takes away like, I think Utah's so interesting because they talk about like the sacredness of relationships, and then people who are part of religions here like will be in open relationships.
They're swinger groups.
Swingers are so common.
And those are the same people who don't want gay people to get married. Those are the same people. They're the same people who are having those parties. And this is real. Everyone's seen the TikToks who are having those parties, who are switching spouses, whatever. Those are the same people who don't want gay people to get married, who are talking about how that ruins the sacredness of marriage, right?
And of love.
And it's just so.
Is being gay chill in Mormonism yet or no? Like
they would like you to think it is.
They will make public statements that I think directly contradict the rudimentary aspects and principles of their belief system. And a lot of it is, in my opinion, a money grab. And I think a lot of it is tied into just gaining wealth and gaining whatever it may be, right? So I think that a lot of takes that the Mormon church has now is a way to just get more people to become a part of the church, to give their tithing money to the church, and to just sit on billions of dollars.
Yeah, they're probably scared of getting all the bad press from their like.
Yes.
They're homophobic. They're like, well, not that much.
Really though.
Or they're racist, and they're like, oh, we're not racist. We allow every walk of life to come into our church.
Which
for the past like 10 years.
Exactly.
It's been cool.
But it just happened, and you can absolutely be a part of that, but you will be judged, you'll be ostracized, and you
are different, and it's very
outcasted again. And it's so bizarre because I think a lot of people, especially gay men, like I know of gay men who are outwardly gay for the most part and still have the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.org in their bio. And I think that is so wild to me.
Yeah. It is.
Because to uphold an institution, to uphold an entity such as the Mormon Church that goes directly against so many beliefs, and so many experiences of queer individuals and of every single other individual as well, whether that be related to race, whether that be related to socioeconomic status. It's so intersectional. And I think that a lot of people who come from this privileged background, as Ashley was touching on earlier, can't see that.
Yes.
They can only see from this tunnel vision of like, well, I'm a gay individual or I'm a queer individual and I have this experience, but can't see the inner workings with all of these other aspects of somebody's life.
Because their life isn't that different because of it. It doesn't.
They can always hide behind their whiteness. They can always hide behind their religion to back up whatever it is that they're doing. That is wrong.
And I think it also sometimes people cling on to like the power of it. Like, oh, I'm gay, but I'm also Mormon. Like, I'm still like a part of this. Like, you know what I mean? Like keeping that normalcy for themselves. Not normalcy, but what they deem as normal for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy.
It is interesting. And you really can't talk about dating at all, especially like in the queer community without talking about Mormonism.
You can't.
And, like it is just like this giant like veil over everything.
Exactly.
Almost.
It's a bubble. It is such a bubble.
It's interesting. Even the people who aren't LDS, like we kind of unite together about like our experiences with that. It's crazy how much it ties into it. And then people who are Mormon and who aren't LDS don't see it. They're like, I just don't understand. Or they'll be like, I don't understand why you feel the need to talk about us. I don't know why we like, you need to be upset or like bitter. Like we're just existing, but they're not.
No.
They're not.
No.
And that's another thing I think when people are like, oh no, we're very accepting of gay people or like people who have gay children and stay a part of the Mormon religion. I find that so interesting. Like it's just very much like denying what's really going on.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. And I know I keep saying that, but the Mormon religion is so fascinating.
It is.
To me.
And I think that my experience as well. So I did a study abroad over the past summer in Barcelona, Spain. In Barcelona. And that was one of the most eye-opening experiences, especially when it came to my sexuality. Barcelona is a very progressive, very queer-friendly place to be. And so that shift when I got there and when I was living there for 3 months was night and day, right? Like there was no talks of religion. There was no talks of this very, in my opinion, closed-minded perspective on the world and on living and on sexuality and experience. And that was kind of like the biggest, I think, experience that I needed to really get over this like hump that I was dealing with, where it's like, oh, like I will never find love. I will never find true, romance because I don't fit so many of these standards that Utah upholds. But it's like you go outside of this bubble, you break free from it, and you go to a place that is, so understanding and so accepting. And I immediately, like, I cannot even fathom how different I felt regarding my own perception and also the way that I perceived others. It was insane. And then
that's awesome.
To have that experience and to have this level of acceptance that I don't think I've ever experienced before, especially growing up here and living here, was essential for my growth, because now I'm back and I'm back in the bubble, right? And I'm back with the same, what feels like 20 people in the gay community, the gay dating community.
I think that's also very true. Like, I know people are like, just because we're gay doesn't mean we know each other. But if I ask any person,
without a doubt. And that's another problem is there is this weird level of like gossip and this weird level of like kissing and telling that so many gay men especially love to capitalize off of. You can very rarely have a gay experience with another man in the state without it being circulated to at least 3 or 4 more.
Do you think it's because it's so small? Like,
it's so small and it's so competitive. Perfect. Okay, another intermission, you guys, because we are just chatty Cathys today.
There's a lot to cover.
There's a lot to talk about.
I know we're going to like end up on some like LDS Reddit of like, they just love to talk about us.
I know. And again, I think it's really important to recognize critical commentary and to take it for what it is and to critically think about the things that we are saying and to not take them for just face value.
I think that's true too. Like, have your own opinions on it. Like, think for yourself. Like, there's our opinions on it. There's the complete opposite. Like, kind of take your own, like, do your own research.
Yeah.
Sit with what feels right with you.
And leave the rest.
Obviously, we don't hate every Mormon we interact with.
No.
I have friends who are Mormon. I know Mormon people. I have friends who are Mormon. But
one of my best friends is Mormon.
So I'm
no,
not. Yeah.
Don't think too much, because I didn't. Are you guys? I'm not.
No. I'm just
No
speaking.
thoughts,
We are just simply
vibes.
speaking on our experience and our take of what it is like growing up and living in Utah as a non-religious.
And that's the thing. The experiences are real. Like, we're not lying.
We're not pulling this out of our tush.
No.
Out of our ass.
I'm not making this up.
No,
This is
absolutely
real.
not. And so, to piggyback on what we were just talking about before we had our little intermish, competitiveness within the queer community, and I can speak on my experience as a gay man. I did not fully recognize the competitive landscape that the queer community kind of just breeds until I got back from my study abroad. So I obviously, as I touched on, had a really, really positive experience, especially when it came to other gay men and my own gay experience while I was away. And then coming back and then also being 21 and starting to go out and doing my whole little, thing. I did party it up in Barcelona and I'm still going to party it up. I'm in college.
It was like an amazing transition. Like, you get to go to the clubs in Europe and then you come home. It's kind of sad though, because being in Europe and going out is so different.
Night and day difference in comparison.
Coming back
to
to the Utah bars, oh,
I
man,
know.
that's so funny.
But that is where I see it the most, is when I am out and when I am doing my little thing with my girls. I don't go out with the intention of sleeping with people. I don't go out with the intention of making out with somebody when I'm at the bar, right? That is not my motive when I'm doing that. But I can tell and I can see so many gay men especially, that is their MO. And so when you're out and about and when you see these other individuals, there is this unspoken just edge that everybody places and everyone has of I see you, you see me. We are now competing to get that
we're either
end
together
goal.
or we're competing.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's so bizarre because I will interact with people, right? And it feels so passive aggressive in the ways that we're interacting, in the ways that we're communicating. And I am still not used to it. It's still very bizarre to me because, again, I go out to have a fun time with my girls, to dance, to do my thing, and I don't want to go home with a man at the end of the night. That is not my goal. And I think that so many gay men especially just assume that of you, where it's if you're out and if you are dancing and if you are, doing your thing, you are immediately a threat to them potentially hooking up with a guy that would be interested in you. And
I think that happens with, sorry, I don't have my
No,
mic.
go.
I think that does happen with women sometimes going out as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's I don't think it's all the time, but I do think it definitely happens. And you can tell who's not having as much fun when they're okay, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And again, it goes back to the prioritizing of relationships and prioritizing of men. Okay, we are here for them. We're not here for our own experience. We are here for validation from other men or from men. You know what I mean?
No, and it's so real. And I think it's way more apparent for me especially, right? Because my friends will pick up on it a little bit, right? When I'm out and I'm oh my gosh, did you see the way that guy just absolutely just gave me the nastiest up and down? And it's so bizarre because I can't see past it, right? It's I'm having these interactions and these little engagements and all I can think of is oh my gosh, you cannot even come up to me and say hi to me or express or show any form of kindness. We're a community.
Yeah, because you're so not that way. And
right?
It's separating, dividing yourselves.
Yes, it's so divisive. And it's so bizarre because the queer community in Utah especially is divided. It is polarized. There are so many different experiences and there are varying parts of the spectrum that people lie on. And I think it's really common to feel as though, oh no, we are not a collective. We are not one. You are in a way a counterpart and an op because
that's so interesting.
Because you are my competition. You are what I want to outdo. You are what I want to surpass. And it's so bizarre because I just don't understand it. I think it's very, very toxic to feel as though the other people that you should be coming together with and finding love within, platonically, romantically, whatever, turns into this one-upping game that no one's gonna win, that no one will win. And I think it's a really, really big problem in the community as well, where people just feel the need to talk shit and to find ways to belittle and to tear down others as a way to make them feel like they are above. and that they are better.
Yes.
And that they have higher ground.
Hurt people kind of thing.
Ugh, so real.
We all need to heal our traumas on our own.
Right. No, I completely agree. I totally get it. Dylan, what do you think?
I don't know. I have.
This is just me looping in Dylan because he's just sitting there, and I need more perspective.
No, I mean that sounds annoying.
Yeah.
What are your notes so far?
Yeah, I don't know. I never dated or anything, and so I have never gone out with the intention of trying to sleep with one or competing with anyone.
Yeah.
And I also don't like going out.
Fair.
In general.
You really don't go out very much.
No, I don't like bars. Yeah, they're just too loud. I just like talking to people.
Yeah.
In quiet environments.
In nice, chill environments.
Yeah.
And I don't like dancing because I'm bad at it. And
you're a pretty good dancer. I've seen videos of
I've
you
seen you bust a move.
The 30
I've seen it. Yeah.
And
We've
was
seen
it
it.
good?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't good.
I think it was nice.
We'll throw a dog a bone. Yeah.
What?
It was good.
You'll throw a dog a bone? That's
Who said that?
Crazy.
Who said that? Who was that?
Oh my god.
That's fucked up.
I
am
Go ahead.
a bad dancer, yeah.
I think you're a good dancer.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I think you're great.
I think the dating. Oh, what I was gonna say. This is pertains to me a little bit. Is
Let's hear it.
going out to the bars with Jonah versus not with Jonah is also so interesting as a woman because I remember this very like specific moment when I went out with these people and like there were some people from high school I knew we went out with and how the men all of a sudden did not speak to me. Like did not want to hear what I had to say. We're not interested in the conversation. And at some point Jonah goes, I said something and they asked Jonah, oh, what do you think of that? And he goes, Ashley was talking because I am not someone they can go home and have sex with. Yeah. All of a sudden I am not of any interest to people. And I just don't, it's so interesting because my relationship to men, I'm straight, but I do not like men. I usually don't like, I do not pursue men. I've never been someone who pursues men. I'm not interested in that at all. Yeah. Or like that attention. So when I'm talking to someone, I want like genuine conversation. And if I'm with Jonah. You don't want a transaction. No, exactly. And if I'm with Jonah, I am not spoken to like at all. And it is so unfortunate to realize. And I think that's kind of goes back to like the goal with like going home with someone. It's so dehumanizing. And it's so just like, oh, wow, this is the only value I have. Like, where is like the human connection in all of this? Exactly. There's none.
It's what sexual pleasure can I receive from you?
Yes.
That I can benefit from. And then absolutely just like.
What can you do for me?
Exactly.
What do you really have to offer? Because it's not conversation. I don't respect your opinion on anything. I don't care.
About anything that has to do with you on a personal level.
Yes. So I think the bar scene in Utah does that happens a lot. I think absolutely. It's very much like, hey, I'm going to find someone to sleep with, or like you either go with your friends and you have to continue to hang out with your friends, or if you go to talk to someone else, it is like it can be so exhausting. I think absolutely. It's so frustrating, and just you remember, oh, these people don't really have any interest in me as a person absolutely. At all. Without a doubt. It's so interesting.
It's a preconception always of like, oh, I see you with a man, therefore you are off limits.
What do you have to offer me?
Exactly.
Truly.
And I'm not going to gain anything from an interaction with you.
What's the point?
That I would actually want. So as a result, it's like, boom, turning a blind eye. You don't exist now. Where's my next target?
No, literally. Exactly. It's so interesting. It's so fascinating. And just the like, not all women feed into it, but I do think it sometimes does like, that ends up being the goal a lot of the time. And it goes back to, and I know I keep saying this, it goes back to how much value we place on men in Utah and men's approval and men's like power dynamic in that. And it's just, it's so frustrating, but I think it happens everywhere, but I think it's very apparent here.
I agree.
It's very crazy. And it goes back to like also being friends with men. I like really appreciate my friendship with you. Yeah. Because it feels like such a genuine friendship.
And a connection that has nothing to do than platonic.
Yes. And I've talked about this before. I really appreciate my friendship with Dylan because I think it's so just like, I'm not worried. I don't feel like I have to perform. It's very just like, we're friends. And it's so nice. No, I really do appreciate you as a friend. It's so nice because it's just like a real friendship and it is refreshing because sometimes you just like have those like when I went to the bar that time, I went with someone who I considered a friend. All of a sudden I was with Jonah and it was like completely different. And it was like sad. I was like, oh, this sucks. Yeah. And I think the other thing that happens is men either want to pursue you or they think you want to pursue them so much that they're very like, oh, like, no, don't like
play it cool.
Yeah. Like if you show genuine kindness, it comes across like, oh, they want
me so bad.
And that's the thing too. And that's the trouble that I've had even going out. And I'm a very like open, very like talkative individual. And there will be times where I interact with like a straight man at a bar, and it's the most lighthearted, casual little interaction or engagement. And I can see it. I can see the flip switch in their head where they're like, "Oh, is he coming on to me?" Like,
that is
really?
so frustrating.
what are his intentions, right? And it's so apparent now, especially, and that's why I gear away from interacting with straight men,
Which
especially
sucks because you're so personable, you're so nice, and you have to like almost reserve a part of yourself.
Yeah.
More so.
Like I can't spark up a conversation with typically a man at a bar because they will view it as me hitting on them or that I am trying to pursue them. And it's so bizarre. And it's these
insane.
crazy preconceptions and things that people believe before you even get the chance to express who you are or to share any form of your personality. And that also relates to being gay as well, because the community in Utah is so small that everybody already has an idea. Everybody already has a preconception of who you are and what labeling or what things they can place onto you as a way to be like, oh, well, like this individual has already done this and that and has this like reputation that I don't want to be a part of. Or this individual just came out, so like I want to, as a result, take advantage of and try to capitalize on that and see what I can do as a result. And so like when I go out, I think that I am more well known. My face is more recognizable to a lot of individuals, especially who are in the community. And I think that a lot of
You're
that,
like a B-list celebrity in Utah. I would dare say.
I would say D.
Okay, D.
Utah,
We'll give you a
at least
C.
in
We'll
Utah.
compromise.
Oh yeah, well I'll throw myself a bone now. I will say that I'm pretty recognizable and I'm pretty well known. I am. When I go out, I run into people, I have these engagements, and I'm not mad. But it does come with the cost of now people have this idea of me based on nothing that they actually know of me personally.
It's their own projections.
It's their projections of me. It's like, oh well, like he is just so entitled. And he is just so stuck up. And he is just so condescending.
People who have never met you.
And it's all of these things that they see of me outwardly, right? My confidence is then turned into me being conceited. My like ability to interact with others and to just freely talk to people is viewed as, oh, he's just coming on to me, right? It's like all of these qualities.
I hate the assumption of someone coming on to someone. It literally... It makes my blood boil. I hate it. It's so like that's entitled. Like, who do you think you are?
And it's demeaning.
It is demeaning. Like
to
your
believe that my
is
only
turned
motive
to, like,
is then turned into a sexual
therefore
favor.
being objectified again too.
Ugh.
Like your kindness is being objectified. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it feels like inescapable sometimes.
And then also girls, I've realized straight women almost view me as a threat as well when I go out.
That's so interesting.
Because, right, if I'm interacting with a man or something, they even take on that same idea, right? Where it's like, if I'm talking to this guy and he's next to this girl, the girl will see this interaction as me attacking
their boyfriend or something.
Exactly. Her plan or her whatever to be with this guy. And it's so bizarre because I think straight women do have a really big role to play in the ways that gay men experience their sexuality.
Let's elaborate on that a little bit. I'm curious.
Yeah, well, because I think that a lot of times gay men are tokenized by straight women and are objectified not in a sexual sense, but in like an aesthetic sense.
Dehumanized also.
I think I think that there are a good amount of straight women who love having the image of a gay man with them, or cannot handle or cannot fathom a gay man having interactions with or having any form of dialogue with a straight man that is either their boyfriend or someone that they're seeing, because again, they are like, okay, no, back off.
They go into that same motive of like gay men are being these predators and like, which is so
and are feeding
toxic
into this homophobia that exists.
Yep.
And it's so often, and I found this in friends along my years
The show?
of,
The show?
What show?
Friends?
Oh my gosh, shut up. I've found throughout the years of me going through relationships and friendships where I can tell the people who are tokenizing me and want me as this side piece to have with them
That's got to be such an icky feeling.
It is.
Like,
It
that made
absolutely
my
is.
stomach drop, and I
Right?
will never experience that. But that is just like
It's
I hate
crazy.
that.
It's crazy. And I've had these conversations with people, especially of like, I am not your little handbag. I am not your little prop for you to have that makes you feel better about yourself and about how much of an ally you are to the community.
I think, going back to like the allyship and like being like, oh no, look, like I am accepting if people look at my friend. Like
Yes.
like when people say, oh, I have a black friend, like it's the same sentiment.
I have a gay best
Yes,
friend.
no,
It's
I
like,
have a
I've
gay
definitely
friend,
heard
like-
that a lot where they'll be
Yeah.
like, I want a gay best friend. It's like,
Yes,
Exactly. And
I
that
heard that
just
too.
want a
and
friend.
that
That's
fetishization
crazy.
as well, that has nothing to do with sexual behavior, but
The
to
gay best
do
friend-
with the gay best friend discourse of like,
Yes.
I want that. I want like what this girl has, like this like very flamboyant and crazy, you know what I mean, persona in their lives. And it's like, you're obsessed with the idea, not the person.
Yeah.
Which that sucks.
And
Yeah.
that's a really, really big
It is
issue.
because it's like a fetish. Yep, I
It is.
100% see that. It's so interesting.
Glad we talked about that because I feel like I haven't talked about that in a while.
I was also gonna ask your take on straight women in gay bars. I was really like, what do you think of that?
I think for all the Utah locals and natives, Waikiki is a prime example. I think Waikiki is one of the most, I can't use that word.
I knew what you were gonna
It's a very contradicting concept because obviously Waikiki is like very like queer friendly. They have drag shows, they have, you know, drag brunches, all of that. But it has been overtaken, I think, in a way, and absolutely just kind of overwhelmed with this like sorority and frat bro demographic.
Oh.
Because they love the idea of being in that inclusive scene and in that inclusive environment, but they don't recognize the harm that it's causing for the actual queer individuals who are going to that establishment to
I
feel a
100%
sense
see that.
of community, to feel a sense of acceptance, right? Because you walk in and it's like, oh, hi, girly who's in a sorority house at the University of Utah with a man who's in a fraternity. I'm not going to name drop because I don't feel the need. But you know what I mean? Like that's what you're experiencing. And when you're in these environments, and it's also so crazy because I think that straight women love to play into it.
They
They love
I do.
to be like, oh, like we're in a gay bar. Like, oh my gosh, kiss me. Like my best friend kissed me.
Yep.
And obviously no harm, no foul, but there is because there are queer women in that environment that view that
that's
and are
what's
like,
interesting to me is taking space away from queer women and queer women not being able to like really gauge, like being able to like meet other women in those environments.
Yeah.
And I do understand the sentiment of like not wanting to be around straight men in bars and like wanting to like go somewhere else, but like you are taking up a space and taking up space where you don't necessarily need to be, especially that much, you know?
yeah. And I think there's a fault with Waikiki too. Like I think accessibility is super important, especially when it comes to queer spaces. And I think having a $15 cover charge every single night is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And cash only. Are you kidding me?
It's cash only.
Cash only. They'll
Get
have you
fucking
use their
real.
ATM that charges you like $10 more if you pull out a 20.
Oh my God.
And it is insane and bizarre and annoying. But that's just my little side tangent.
That's good.
It's interesting though, especially I think Waikiki is a prime example of the ways that straight folk are able to basically override an establishment
sense.
that is catered towards and that is meant for queer individuals. It's very,
it
very
goes back
bizarre.
into the entitlement of like, oh, I can take up space here because I'm nice. And that's
Because
not
I'm
nec-
accepting, because I'm an ally, because I'm
Yes.
able to show my camaraderie.
Yes, exactly. And like, it's
But
so,
I have my straight Sigma Chi right next to me, who will not even let me get anywhere near another gay man or a
yes, or will
lesbian
like take a video of me
passing
if I kiss
person.
a woman. Like that's the other part of it. I think bringing those men into those spaces, and I think a lot of women, and I think I had to check myself at some point at an age, were very forgiving of the men they were interested in. And I remember being at some point where I was like, this is very enabling. Like you cannot consider yourself like someone who wants to be an ally if you are going to interact with men who are harmful to other communities. You can't. You have to check that. You have to like
Yeah.
not. You like who are you when those people you want to advocate for aren't around? Like you can't forgive that. You can't like just like oh whatever, and then bring them into those spaces too. It's
And it's so
frustrating.
apparent. It is. It absolutely is. Where it's like, I love having the company of a gay best friend, but my boyfriend is outwardly homophobic and is outwardly misogynistic. Yeah. And it's like in a way for them canceling it out. It's giving like PEMDAS for them. Yeah. Where it's like, oh, well, like I can outweigh this like very harmful ideology that this, straight man possesses because I have this queer individual that can balance the scales.
And then again, that's back to using, like they are using a queer person to alleviate their conscience.
Yes.
Like, oh no, it's fine.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
It's bizarre.
It is.
Okay. Are there any other things that we want to bring up before we wrap? Because I feel like that was absolutely so much content.
Dump, but it was a lot. There's so much to it. There's really so much to it.
It could probably go on longer, but I only have so much time.
He's just so busy.
He's very busy.
No, not today. To edit it.
To edit it,
yeah. I know. You're going to have a doozy of an edit today.
I know. You absolutely will.
I think that we can wrap it up, but thank you very much.
Yeah, I think.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, no, I'm really happy that we were able to do this. Me too. I'm so glad that we were able to talk so freely about a topic that I very clearly have a lot to say about. And for opening up the space and making it so welcoming and allowing me to share my experience and to give credit to that. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
And I love hearing y'all's perspectives as well.
It's very interesting, and I think it's important to like educate people on. And obviously, it's not something I can really educate people on with. Like, I have no fucking idea, really. Like, I'm not gonna go retell people's experiences. So I'm glad you were here. I'm glad we could talk about it.
Me too.
And I do like the idea of like the podcast kind of being like a bridge to other people. Sometimes, and like just like talking like in depth, but also very like lighthearted enough with respect to the situation in a way that people can like understand. And like I think you did great at that. I think it was so fun.
Thank you very much.
Yes, no, really I love this.
It was perfect. I loved it. It was so nice.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for having me.
No problem.
Have me again.
I'm so excited. I know. I want Yovanni to come back for our Met Gala.
Stay tuned.
Installation.
All
That'll be fun.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Ciao.
Bye.